hate your job, but you also hate being broke, or you just don't know what your next step in life is career-wise, then this video is probably for you. This is especially for people who are looking to maintain financial freedom, maybe create some financial abundance without submitting to grind culture or just working in a way that depletes your soul, your spirit, your mind, your body. So if you're interested in learning more about that and what I recommend and how I implemented it, I recommend that you watch this to the end. If you have questions, you can ask the questions below. There will probably be some information in the description box because, again, I want to just hit the topics dead on so that we aren't rambling and I don't waste your time, so that you can get straight to understanding what is my daily work, what do I enjoy doing day to day, which is not passions. And so I'll explain all of that. But if you're in, watch this to the end, check the description box, and if this is valuable to you, please hit subscribe and share with a friend, okay? So I made a video where I said the most dangerous thing that you can do is learn how to make money before you figure out what you want your daily work to be, which is a reflection of figure out who you are. Walk with me for a moment. One of the most dangerous things you can do in this life is figure out how to make money, because due to the necessity of money, once you figure out how to make it, you have to keep doing it so you can keep making it. And because money is seen as a scarcity and is seen as hard to make, a lot of people don't want to experiment with different ways to figure out how to make money once they know how to make money. So in the event that you figure out how to make money doing something that you don't enjoy doing, now you kind of become a slave to the thing. For some people, it's a 9-to-5. For some people, it's a side hustle. For some people, it's relationships. For others, it's crime. And so if you find a way to make money before you find out what you want to do as your daily work, not find your passion, because you don't have to monetize a passion. But if you find a way to make money without figuring out what you want to do day to day, you run the risk of losing your life to that thing, which kind of brings us back to the high level idea that succeeding at something without knowing who you are and what you want is so dangerous. Kind of better to be a late bloomer, because then you go through a longer process that teaches you who you are as you find success. And there were a lot of big reactions. A lot of people like, that's for rich people, that's for women, but even more people understood what I was saying, because it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor or what your background is. We've all been in scenarios where we really needed to pay rent. We really needed to stand on our own feet, either because we have life goals or we have tied our identity or our sense of success to ambition. And there's actually nothing wrong with that as long as you don't let it eclipse the other parts of yourself. Or we're in a position where we can't afford to fail because we'll be on the streets or we'll be in a bad situation with our family or partners. But we've all kind of felt that squeeze. And the problem with it is, if your survival, your ability to eat, to live, to everything is tied to something that you don't want to do it, it's killing you slowly, you're going to end up in a bad place anyway, because you cannot, I don't care what you say, you cannot do something that you hate for a long period of time with a high level of competency. Eventually, you are going to slack off. You are going to not give it grade A effort. You're not going to be likable to be around, because that's another thing in the workplace. It's not just your skill. It's not your level of education. It's how well do you fit into this workspace? Which we're not talking about pushing people out because of like racial or any other kind of discriminatory practices. It's, think about it like a roommate. We need each other to live, or in the workplaces, we need each other to get this job done. And we have to like and respect each other to some degree to get it done. And so if you're the one person coming in, effing up the vibes, they're gonna get rid of you. You are always in the most danger of losing your financial security when you hate what you do. Yada blah, 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 do with me all you want. It's true. I've been there. And this is not coming from someone who comes from a rich background at all. I'm from Tennessee. Not that there aren't rich people in Tennessee, but I'm from Tennessee. My parents are from an extremely small town in Mississippi. I don't come from money. I've come from nothing time and time again. But I've crashed out enough times to know that I want my ability to be financially stable to depend on me, not the economy, not some dude that likes me in the office, and some dude, I mean my boss, don't start. How do I take more control and more autonomy over that? And I figured out, look, I need to be able to like what I'm doing day to day, or get a net neutral. Net neutral meaning it doesn't necessarily make me happy, but it definitely doesn't make me sad. And so the easiest way, there are different ways to do it, and we can talk about it maybe in a different video. The easiest formula to figuring out what you can do day to day that does not rip the soul out of you. Find the thing that you're highly skilled in that you can do with low effort. high skill, low effort. An example is I've been told many times in my comment sections that I am a yapper. I have a lot of verbal energy. I have a lot of mental energy at all times. Hello. So on one hand, this means I have been very successful in my career as a growth hacker, growth strategist, which is in the marketing field, because all marketing is at its heart is having ideas and talking about them and pitching them to people and making them make sense. So I can talk for 8 hours a day and not be tired. Well, that's not 100% true. If I'm talking about things I hate, like customer service, because I've definitely been in retail, hospitality, and I can't do that. But if it's like cool ideas, if we're talking about, ooh, here's how you bring the light and the sparkle to your business, I can do that all day, no problem. My favorite example of this is, I'm also a musician, if you didn't know. I was in the studio the other day, and the studio manager who was unlocking stuff, letting me in, he has like a side business, or he's developing his own business. Just a small talk, I started talking about all the ways that he can start building a personal brand as a music business professional. I started talking about, here's what you do with your profiles. This is how you create a newsletter. Here's how you get people to opt in. Here's how you blah, 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 blah. And so by the time you're ready to leap from this job to your own thing, you will already have a sense of authority, your audience, you'll have a network that's ready to support what you're doing. Succinctly, in like 30 minutes. I didn't have to crunch no numbers, it's just here, it's already there, right? And so I can just give you an idea very quickly. So it's very easy for me when I go into work contracts, because a lot of times what a growth hacker or strategist does is they come into a company, and there are people who have growth strategists on staff who are there all the time, which, if it works, it works. But I think one of the best parts of having a growth strategist is that they're coming in with an unbiased eye, and they're looking at things as an outsider. And so usually I come in and I go, here's the opportunities, which I want to highlight that, because one of the main points that I was trying to make was that reason why it's so dangerous to find out how to make money before you know what your daily work is or who you are, is that once you find out how to make money, you don't want to experiment. We find the thing that works and we stick to it because of scarcity and fear and need. Of course, we need this to work. But the truth about that is that oftentimes the thing that works the first time was just one experiment. And if we would have kept experimenting, taking what we learned from the first thing, but implementing other stuff, being open to wonder and just let's see what happens, we could have hit the lottery in our career, whatever it is we're doing by now. And I say that because I feel like a lot of people thought I was attacking them for the very real fear that they feel like I have to hold on to what works, because what else do I have? But I want you to know companies behave in the same way. They will literally pay me money, like tens and tens of thousands of dollars, to come in to evaluate, analyze, and go, here are your opportunity channels, here's what's draining you, and then go, when it comes to implementing the new thing, they're afraid because guess what, time and energy is a scarce resource. And so if they take time and energy, so the workforce that they have, out of the thing that's working and apply it to a thing that is untested within the company, because hello, I'm coming in with data and like 10 years of experience, so I've seen these things work before. So it's not like I'm like, we're not picking, and even with you, it's not picking things out of a cloud that are completely untested. It's just, it has not been tested in this specific scenario. We can't know what works for you. And that's why it is test. Let's like, don't take advice about money or building a career or marketing and just decide that is Bible. Test it quickly. When I was in business school, one of the first lessons that they taught is like, you need to implement and fail quickly. The quicker you fail, the quicker you can cross it off and say, oh, that didn't work, I can move on. But this space of ruminating, will it work, will it not, will it won't, should I, you won't know until you do it. In dating, it's the same way. I often think career and dating bring the same energy. Make calculated risk, have a backup, but honestly, and I'm not telling anyone else to do this, when I've had nothing else to do, I really have just thrown myself into a venture, because I'm like, look, it's stay on the ground, or what, like sit here and suffer with the $5 I have, or I do something with the $5 and get 100. And if I don't get 100, it was gonna go anyway when I bought a sandwich, and I still would not have a path forward. But at least now I know that that thing doesn't work. So you have to move, fail quickly. Gotta get past this thing of like fear of rejection, fear of failure, because nobody's judging you but you, right? And even if other people are looking in and they're not, because everybody's like really centered on themselves. Do I look cool? Do I look good? Nobody really cares. Really, all they ever do is project their insecurities onto you. So when people go, oh, Kady, I can't believe you got on camera looking like that, they mean, Kady, I'm afraid to get on camera looking like that. I'm not. And because I'm not, my brand grows. You're gonna see me when I wake up, when I'm in the sauna, clearly, because if I have the energy to do the thing that needs to be done, that gets me to where I need to be, I'm gonna do it. I'm not worried about this. This is a block. Think about this as a blocker. And so one, you need to identify, what are your blockers? Are you afraid of failure? Why you ask that question? This is where the mind, body, soul connection comes in to really be able to be successful. It's not that you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning or you have to go to the gym to be successful. No, you just have to develop a culture of discipline and excellence and self-connection, right? You cannot do it on willpower alone. You cannot do it on grunt power alone. Like somebody commented that, if you just focus on your strengths, your weaknesses will take care of yourself. No, they won't. What your weaknesses will do is hide and then sabotage your strengths in the last moment if you let them run away with you. You got to be totally connected. And even when we look at like what makes me feel okay or happy or net neutral for daily work, you have to be connected to your feelings. I know my guys don't want to hear that all the time, but think about it like this. Feelings or emotions are the context that gives logic meaning, okay? Like logic is clinical in AI, and we see how AI fails time and time again because AI has information with no context, but your feelings, your humanity connects you and go, here's how logic should be applied in this scenario, and here's how I make choice. You cannot make choices without emotion. Just like you can't completely make choices without logic. Even if you're doing it with just your feelings, there has to be a logic or a system to the way you apply your feelings or emotions, and logic come together and they create supreme intellect, right? Like you have to marry the two. There is something unique and wonderful about a human being because it has both a spirit and intellect, and you have to marry those things together, right? You cannot disconnect it. So you have to be fully connected. Like how do I feel, right? But all of that to say, can't be afraid to fail, right? If you need to create a little bit of a fail safe for yourself, like I remember when I was first moving to Los Angeles, I was kind of chasing something that was probably gonna come through, but had no guarantees. I was like pretty far in the process for a job, a more permanent job, but I had to give notice for my apartment before if I was going to take the job, I was going to have to give up my apartment before I would find out if I were gonna get it. And so I did what I didn't want to do, and I called up my parents like, look, if I don't get this, I need everybody to be freaking cool.